Hello, everyone. Elizabeth here with Foundation Center, and I'm joined today by Michael Stein, Director of Partnerships at Every Action. He'll be our presenter for our January 10th webinar, where we will be discussing how to plan your best fundraising year. So firstly, I wanted to say thank you, Michael. I'm so glad you were able to join us today.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's my pleasure to be able to join our guests in January.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
it'll
me.
be great to have you back yet again. Michael is one of our go-to instructors when it comes to anything digital. So as we get to know your expertise a little bit better, I wanted to ask you, Michael, why is creating a balanced communications plan so important when it comes to fundraising?
Well, I think the balance is just critical to provide kind of a broad range and types of engagement with people. I mean, you can't fundraise from people all the time, asking for money all the time. And likewise, you can't just keep sending people newsletters. So it's really the variety of material which is designed to engage people, show them the different facets of your work. So that word engagement is a very broad term, but it's really intended to pull people in. So whether they're a volunteer, whether they're a donor, whether they've come to your events, you're really trying to present a broad array of material. And so really the balance is about keeping people interested in seeing that you're a well-rounded organization, and that at the end of the day, being a donor interconnects with all the other activities of the organization, so that when you do have your fundraising asks, that it will blend smoothly with the rest of the organization's work, and hopefully kind of really connect and make sense for your donors.
I think that's really great place to start. Speaking of starting, I wanted to ask, what's one thing that participants will be able to start doing right after the webinar? We're going to talk about, actually setting up different schedules and different forms of engagement. So what's one thing that they should definitely be able to do to get started?
Sure. Well, we're doing the webinar in January, which I think is a good time to do it, because it allows us to look ahead into the year. And so my favorite thing to ask people to do is to make a plan for the year, and we'll spend the first part of the webinar kind of talking about what does a plan look like. And that connects with your first question about the balance. So the plan shows not just when you're going to fundraise, but it also has your events, it has your various seasonal activities, it has different types of cultivational things that you're going to be doing, and it allows you to sort of see holistically how the engagement process is going to work. So to answer your question again, having a plan, I think, is one of the top outcomes that I'd love webinar participants to have from the experience.
Yeah. Definitely some very practical tips that Michael's going to give, as well as a couple of templates of, just ideas to get started on actually planning these events. So I wanted to ask you, Michael, what is your firsthand experience with developing fundraising plans?
Well, I spent the last 8 or so years, working at a direct response agency that focused on fundraising, Mal Warwick Donor Digital, which has offices in Berkeley, California, and DC. And so my role there was to manage fundraising campaigns for some of the US's largest nonprofits and lots of mid-sized organizations as well. So we basically were creating fundraising plans and integrating them with other channels of fundraising that were happening in these organizations, and then also helping to put together the fundraising campaigns themselves, writing copy, doing design or working with designers, and then also working on digital platforms to put them together, and then of course managing a schedule. So all that kind of practical stuff was really my bread and butter, so to speak, for the last decade or so. Yeah. And one which gave me a lot of really practical experience with the everyday life of managing fundraising.
So definitely a lot of the higher level, but also the day-to-day. I know you're always full of stories and firsthand accounts, so I look forward to those as well. And as our audience continues to get to know you, I wanted to ask you if you've read anything good lately.
Yeah, there's always a lot of stuff to read. Here, I will just quickly lean down and grab a copy of one book that I've read recently that I would love to recommend to folks, which is, I hope people can see this up here on the screen. The book is called The Digital Plan, so very appropriate to our topic. And it's written by my good friend, Brad Schenk, who's based out here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And it's a terrific book on strategic guidance and planning for all things digital, dealing with the web, email, social media. And Brad also, offers a wonderful series of learning webinars and other things that people can take advantage of. So anyway, The Digital Plan by Brad Schenk, really a terrific read. And it's always giving me lots of practical ideas for how organizations and nonprofits can supercharge, their digital work for fundraising, cultivation, and donor engagement.
Continued learning. I very much appreciate that, Michael. It looks like you very much love your work if that's what you're reading when you get home in the evening. With that, I wanted to say thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today. I'm excited to actually jump into the tactics and tools to create that plan for everyone's year fundraising, their next year of fundraising. We do have early bird pricing through January 4th, so register today to take advantage. Remember, all registrants will receive a recording of the webinar to watch and rewatch on their own time. So with that, thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. See you all soon. Bye-bye.